Imagine a world where your thoughts command machines, where the boundary between mind and metal blurs into one. Welcome to the dawn of brain-computer interfaces, the technology that promises liberation for the paralyzed and a new form of intelligence. But behind this promise lies a darker, more complex truth. It starts with a signal, a single thought, an electrical impulse deep inside the brain. For centuries, this was the limit of human experience, our thoughts locked away, untouchable. But what if we could break that barrier? What if our thoughts could control machines, communicate without words, or even be read by others? For thousands of years, humanity has dreamed of enhancing the mind. Ancient philosophers believed consciousness was a divine gift. Renaissance thinkers dissected the brain to understand its power. The 20th century gave us computers, machines that could think but not like us. Then, in the 1960s, something changed. Scientists discovered that electrical signals inside the brain could be harnessed. They could make a rat move without its control. They could translate thought into action. It was crude, it was experimental, but it was the beginning of something profound. The first breakthroughs. By the 1990s, the race to connect brains and machines had begun. Scientists wired electrodes into the brains of animals, proving that thoughts could control robotic limbs. The implications? Enormous. Suddenly, it wasn't just about science. It was about power, money, and the future of human evolution. For those who had lost the ability to move, this was a miracle. But behind the miracle, there were deeper questions. How far could this technology go? And more importantly, who would control it? Enter the billionaires. Fast forward to 2016. Enter Elon Musk, a billionaire with a vision, one that sounded like it came straight from a sci-fi novel. His company, Neuralink, didn't just want to restore lost movement. They wanted to create a brain internet, a direct interface between humans and artificial intelligence. Musk wasn't just selling technology, he was selling the future. Neuralink's pitch was simple: superhuman intelligence, telepathic communication, even the ability to save and replay memories. But beneath the excitement, there was a darker undercurrent, a question no one had answered. What happens when your thoughts are no longer private? The unseen risks. In a world where our personal data is already being harvested, BCIs introduce a terrifying possibility: mind surveillance. What if corporations, governments, or hackers could access your thoughts? What if your deepest fears, your private memories, your unconscious biases were exposed? This isn't paranoia, it's a real concern. Already, China and the US are locked in a silent arms race, pouring billions into neurotechnology. The goal? Not just to treat patients, but to control the future of warfare, intelligence, and human augmentation. The dream of merging man and machine was no longer science fiction. It was happening. But how do you take something as complex as the human brain and turn it into code? In 2020, the world got its first real look at Neuralink's work. A pig named Gertrude, implanted with a brain chip, proved that thoughts could be tracked, live. Every movement she made, every sniff, every step was displayed on a screen. It was the first proof of concept. The message was clear: if we can read brain activity, we can eventually write it too. From science to business. Neuralink wasn't alone. Dozens of other companies had been working on brain-machine interfaces for years, but none had Musk's marketing power. Still, the field was growing fast. In 2021, another company, Synchron, became the first to implant a human patient with a brain chip, without open brain surgery. A paralyzed man could now control a computer, just by thinking. This was no longer an experiment. It was reality. The first human trials. For years, Musk claimed that human trials were just around the corner. Then, in 2024, it finally happened. The first Neuralink patient, a man paralyzed from the neck down, received the implant. And within days, he was moving a cursor on a screen, just with his mind. A tweet, just a few words, but a milestone in human evolution. While many saw this as hope, others saw danger. What happens when a corporation, not nature, controls what your brain can do? A mind no longer private. No one was asking the real questions. Who owns the data your brain produces? What if your thoughts could be sold, hacked, or manipulated? In a world already battling misinformation, brain-computer interfaces, BCIs, opened an even darker possibility. Imagine a government, or worse, a corporation, planting a thought in your mind. Would you even know? The military arms race. In classified programs, the US military has already tested brain interfaces for soldiers, allowing them to operate drones with their minds. China has similar programs. And if history has taught us anything, it's that technology designed for good often finds its way into war. The US, China, and Europe are all racing to dominate brain technology. But this isn't just about science, it's about power. A country that controls BCI technology doesn't just control weapons, it controls minds. The first humans have now been implanted, but we are standing at a crossroads. Will brain chips free us or enslave us? Across continents, the race for BCY supremacy has reshaped not only technology, but global power. In the US, companies like Synchron, Paradromics, and Precision Neuroscience are forging ahead, each with its own approach to interfacing with the human brain. This isn't just about medicine. It's about billions in investments, geopolitical rivalry, and even national security. As governments scramble to regulate neural data and tech giants vie for market dominance, the stakes have never been higher. The race for the human mind had begun, and it wasn't just about innovation, it was about power. Nations knew that whoever controlled brain-machine interfaces could control the future. The power struggle. Neuralink was leading the charge in the West, but in the East, China had its own ambitions. State-backed companies were developing their own brain chips, faster, cheaper, and integrated with AI-driven surveillance systems. While Neuralink aimed to enhance individuals, China saw another use: social control, a future where thoughts weren't just read, but monitored. Western intelligence agencies warned this wasn't just about brain implants. It was about total control. Military applications. The weaponization of thought. The Pentagon wasn't blind to this. While Silicon Valley preached empowerment, the US military was funding brain-machine interfaces for combat applications. Soldiers communicating telepathically, drones controlled by pure thought. The battlefield was evolving, and war would never be the same. Corporate domination. The privatization of the mind. Governments weren't the only players. Big tech had entered the game. Amazon, Google, and Meta all filed patents for brain interface technologies. The question was no longer if, but who would own your thoughts? The promise, convenience. The price, control. The lines between human, machine, and state were vanishing. The race was on, and the consequences would be irreversible. Who will control this neural revolution? The answer could determine the future balance of power on the global stage. Chapter 4. The Dark Side. Behind every breakthrough, there is a shadow. With great power comes great responsibility, or, perhaps, great risk. As BCIs advance, so do concerns about privacy, surveillance, and even the potential for mind control. For years, the idea of fusing biological neurons with artificial intelligence was the realm of science fiction. But in the shadows of Silicon Valley, a company called Cortical Labs was turning that fiction into reality. The rise of synthetic intelligence. Unlike Neuralink, which aimed to connect the human brain to computers, Cortical Labs was building computers powered by actual living brain cells. The project was called DishBrain, a system where human and mouse neurons were grown in a petri dish and trained to play Pong. At first, it sounded harmless, even fascinating. But beneath the surface, it hinted at something far greater and far more terrifying. What happens when biological intelligence merges with machine intelligence? Who is in control, the AI or the neurons? From labs to military contracts. Like every breakthrough technology, dish brain quickly attracted the attention of the military. Sources revealed that defense agencies were closely monitoring its potential. If AI could be enhanced with real biological neurons, it could lead to the next generation of autonomous weapons, machines that could think, adapt, and react in ways traditional AI never could. A new kind of warfare was taking shape, where battlefield decisions wouldn't be made by humans, but by semi-living machines. The Wanda ethical nightmare. This wasn't just about machines getting smarter. It was about blurring the line between life and artificiality. If a neuron-powered AI system develops intelligence, is it alive? Does it have rights? And if it makes decisions that harm people, who is responsible? Some researchers worried that by merging biological cells with AI, we might accidentally create something we don't understand, something that behaves unpredictably, even consciously. We were seeing behaviors that weren't just random. The neurons weren't just responding, they were adapting, almost like they were learning on their own. Then, reports began to surface. Unverified claims that some experiments had gone wrong, that dish brain models had exhibited unexpected, almost eerie reactions to stimuli. Was it just noise? Or were these biological circuits developing something closer to self-awareness? Cortical Labs denied these allegations. They insisted dish brain was just a tool, nothing more. But history has shown us that once Pandora's box is opened, it's impossible to close. The line between organic and synthetic intelligence has officially blurred. And as governments and corporations race to harness this power, the question remains: what happens when our own creations start thinking for themselves? Imagine a future where your neural data is hacked, or worse, manipulated. The possibility of surveillance capitalism and dystopian control looms large. From the sterile labs of early pioneers to the sleek, high-stakes boardrooms of Silicon Valley, brain-computer interfaces are rewriting our future. They promise unparalleled independence for the paralyzed, a new era of AI powered by human neurons, and even a revolution in global geopolitics. We have crossed the threshold. Brain-computer interfaces are no longer science fiction. They are integrated into daily life. But as we step into the future, one question remains. Have we unlocked humanity's greatest potential or created its ultimate downfall? The breakthroughs are undeniable. Education is revolutionized. Students can download knowledge directly into their minds. The arts flourish as creativity is no longer bound by physical limitations. And for the disabled, brain implants mean freedom, mobility, and independence. But this power comes with responsibility. Governments scramble to regulate brain technology, introducing new cognitive rights. What does it mean to own your thoughts? Who gets access to superhuman intelligence? The rise of a new class divide. As with every revolutionary technology, there is a cost. A new form of inequality emerges, not based on wealth alone, but on intelligence itself. The augmented class surges ahead, while those left behind struggle in a world that moves too fast for them. The biggest tech companies now hold the keys to human cognition. Neuralink, Cortical Labs, and others don't just own our devices. They own our thoughts, and with power over minds, they hold power over society itself. But what happens when the mind is no longer safe? Cybercriminals, rogue AI, and oppressive regimes can manipulate thought itself. A hacked brain means a stolen identity, not just passwords, but memories, emotions, and even free will. And then, the final question. If AI can predict our every move, does free will still exist? The future is unbound. Will we rise as gods of our own creation, or will we become prisoners of our own ambition? The next chapter of humanity has begun, but we must decide how it ends. Yet, with every step forward, we must ask, are we prepared to face the dark side of this revolution? As the lines between human and machine blur, the question remains: will these innovations free us, or will they enslave our minds? We stand at the edge of a revolution, a technology that promises to heal the paralyzed, connect minds, and unlock the human brain like never before. But as history has shown, great power always comes at a price. The choice is not in the hands of billionaires or governments alone. It is in ours. How we regulate, adopt, and question these advancements will determine if this future is a utopia or a dystopia. What do you think? Do brain implants excite you or terrify you? Are we ready for this leap, or are we rushing in without a safety net? Let us know in the comments below.